Welcome to the Explainer. Listen, let's just jump right in with a hard truth from the team at Byte Media. The legacy SEO playbook, the one we all spent years learning, it is completely, 100% dead. We all know the old drill. You pick a keyword, you repeat it every 150 words, you bury the actual answer under like 3 huge paragraphs of throat-clearing fluff, and you make absolutely sure you hit 2,000 words just because some software tool told you to. Well, that playbook is over. And I'm not just saying that to be dramatic. Today's Google systems and AI tools actually reward direct, well-structured answers, and they actively penalize all that padded prose. The era of keyword stuffing is history. So, in this explainer, we're going to explore the exact workflow developed by Byte Media so you can survive and, honestly, thrive in this totally new landscape.
Practicing exactly what we preach, we're going to use the bottom line up front philosophy today. So here is your direct, no-fluff roadmap of exactly what we're covering. 1. The death of old SEO. 2. The rise of answer engines. 3. The 2026 AI content workflow. 4. Common AI content mistakes. And 5. Your AI content toolkit.
Section 1. The death of old SEO. Okay, so for years, that predictable SEO formula worked because early search engines were really just pattern matchers. They were literally just counting how many times you awkwardly shoved a keyword into a paragraph. Writers were optimizing for a pattern, not a person. But modern search engines, they're intent matchers. Today's systems actually understand meaning, they know synonyms, and they fully grasp context. What does that mean for us? It means forcing keyword repetition doesn't just add zero value anymore, it literally hurts your readability. Today, these systems actually understand what the user wants.
And this creates massive tactical differences. The old approach was all about generic intro padding, hitting a fixed word count no matter what the topic was, and throwing up a huge wall of text. But look at the 2026 AI-assisted approach. Instead of an intro that just wastes everybody's time, you provide a direct answer immediately. Instead of padding a 600-word answer out to 2,000 words with total filler, your link is now based purely on topical completeness. Padding doesn't make your content better, it just causes scroll fatigue. And instead of that giant wall of text, your content has to be heavily chunked and super skimmable.
Section 2. The rise of answer engines.
To really get this, we have to look at how search shifted away from keywords and toward entities. Now, what's an entity? It's a specific, defined thing, maybe a person, a place, a product, or a concept that a search engine recognizes and connects to other things. It's almost like a giant puzzle. So instead of a search engine asking, hey, does this page contain this specific keyword? It now asks, does this page actually demonstrate a real understanding of this topic and its related entities? If you're writing about SEO content, you naturally need to talk about concepts like search intent or topical authority, not to stuff keywords, but to prove you actually know the whole ecosystem of what you're talking about.
And this whole shift means we kind of need a new vocabulary. SEO definitely still matters, for sure, but it's sharing the stage now with AEO and GEO. AEO is answer engine optimization. That's structuring your content so it gets pulled directly into things like featured snippets, voice assistants, and those people also ask boxes. GEO is generative engine optimization. That's structuring it so AI tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, or Google AI Overviews can accurately extract, summarize, and cite your content. The absolute crucial takeaway here is that we have to structure our content so machines can extract and quote the answers in one single shot.
Which brings us to arguably the most important acronym of this new era, BLUF, or bottom line up front. This simply means answering the core question in the first 2 or 3 sentences of a section right before you expand with all your supporting details. Why is this so absolutely crucial? Well, if you bury your answer under 3 paragraphs of context, an AI summarizer is literally just going to skip your page and paraphrase a competitor who got to the point faster. You absolutely cannot bury your answers anymore.
Section 3. The 2026 AI content workflow. Before we dive into the exact steps, I want to share a core mindset shift from this framework. AI is a co-writer, not a ghostwriter. This is the metaphor you need to keep in mind, and it should really alleviate any fears you might have about accidentally producing generic spam. This workflow does not mean you just type in a prompt, copy the output, and hit publish. No way. A human, you, must remain fully responsible for the accuracy, the judgment, and the final voice at every single stage of the game.
So there are 5 consolidated macro phases in this 2026 workflow: research and outline, AI co-drafting, EEEAT fact check, AO and GEO polish, and finally publish and refresh. This is exactly how you blend human intelligence with AI speed. Let's break these down one by one. In steps 1 and 2, you're doing your research and outlining. But listen, you aren't just looking for keyword volume anymore. You're using AI to rapidly map out the entities and related subtopics a reader genuinely needs to know. You're also figuring out the search intent, like, is this person just looking for a quick definition, or are they getting ready to pull out their credit card and buy? Then you get AI to draft an outline skeleton. But here is the trick, and it's a big one. You have to manually restructure it. AI tends to default to these generic, perfectly symmetrical outlines, 3 tips, 3 examples, 1 conclusion. Real topical coverage is rarely that tidy. So you have to manually jump in and adjust it to ensure every single section is built around that bluff principle we talked about.
All right, moving into step 3, the drafting phase. Notice that the goal here is not to generate the entire article all at once. You draft section by section. You feed the AI your restructured outline, your specific notes, your brand facts, and you ask it to draft in a very specific voice. Then, you rewrite anything that sounds generic, you replace vague claims with hard specifics, and you ruthlessly cut every single sentence that doesn't earn its place. Bottom line, you never, ever publish an unedited draft.
Next up is step 4, the fact check. This is where EEAT comes in. Experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Google leans on this quality framework heavily. If you used AI in your drafting, you absolutely must check every single statistic and claim. If your AI fabricates a confident-sounding statistic that you can't verify with a real source, it has to be cut immediately. Actually, scratch that. A confident but fabricated number will completely obliterate your trustworthiness the second a reader or a fact-checking algorithm catches it. Always add specifics that only come from your direct, real-world experience.
Finally, we reach the polish and publish phases. You want to deliberately craft these tight 40 to 60-word snippet answers designed specifically to be pulled by AI overviews. You also want to create standalone FAQ sections that answer the real questions people are actually asking voice assistants. You need to apply schema markup so search engines know exactly what type of content they're looking at. And hey, remember, hitting publish is not the finish line. You have to audit and refresh your content regularly so it doesn't go stale.
Section 4, common AI content mistakes.
Let's start with a question I hear all the time. Can I just use AI to write my entire blog post? I mean, it's incredibly tempting, right? Why go through this whole 5-step workflow when a single prompt can spit out 1,500 words in, like, 10 seconds?
Well, here is why. The pitfalls. If you publish unedited first drafts, you are pumping out generic, repetitive content that both readers and search systems can spot from a mile away, and they will heavily discount it. If you let AI invent statistics, well, we just talked about that, you ruin your credibility. If you rely purely on AI, you're almost definitely going to ignore the actual human search intent behind the query. And if you just tack on an FAQ at the very end as an afterthought, filled with just random filler questions, you're missing out on some of the most valuable real estate for voice search and answer engines. The AI tool isn't the problem at all. Treating it as an automatic finished product generator is.
Section 5, your AI content toolkit.
You really don't need to overcomplicate your tech stack here. There are just 5 absolute essentials. You need a keyword and intent research tool to understand what people actually want. You need an AI writing assistant to act as your collaborator. You need an SEO and schema plugin for that technical polish at the end. You need analytics to track your performance. But hey, notice that middle bullet point? A manual fact-checking process? Yes, that is just as critical a tool as any expensive software you can buy. A great AI assistant without a manual fact check is just going to produce beautifully written, extremely confident-sounding errors.
So, think of this as your condensed, is your content AI search ready checklist. Right before you hit publish, ask yourself these questions. Does it have a Bloof intro that answers the question directly? Is there a designated 40 to 60 word snippet answer? Are all your sources totally verifiable? Is the page broken down into nice, skimmable sections? And does it have a real FAQ based on genuine user intent? If you can confidently check all those boxes, you are officially producing content ready for 2026.
Now, I know rebuilding your entire workflow around AI as a collaborator takes real discipline. It is so much harder than just copy-pasting a generated draft, I won't lie to you. But it produces content that actually holds up in Google, in AI overviews, and most importantly, in front of real human readers. Now, if you want a second opinion on your current setup, the team that built this framework over at Byte Media offers a free SEO and AEO audit. They can show you exactly where your content might be losing visibility and help you modernize your whole process. To wrap things up, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to chew on. Are you still writing for a search engine that no longer exists? The old playbook wasn't wrong for its time, but that time is officially over. Today, it is all about answering questions directly, demonstrating real human expertise, and structuring your content for machines while always writing for humans. It's time to adapt your workflow. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and happy writing.